Okay. Before we get started today, for those of you who are on the phone, we want to thank you for taking some of your time out today to join us with our in our Leading Change webinar series. We do want to do a few housekeeping items before we get started. My name is Michelle Stefan, and I'll be moderating the session today for us. And we have some really great presenters that will be presenting our material from Meriden, so we're appreciative for them being here today. Before we get started, I do want to let everybody know that it is a closed session, so you will need to submit your questions through the question panel or through the chat screen, and we'll be happy to answer those questions throughout the session when it's a natural time to stop or at the end of the webinar. Also today, we will be recording the webinar, so the webinar will be available for you on demand to share or to rewatch at a later time. As well as any of the links and materials that are shared will be available for you to access and see. So we really appreciate your time today. And again, for questions, we please ask that you submit those to the question panel or to the chat panel, and we'll be monitoring those throughout the session. So with that, I'd like to go ahead and hit recording and would like to welcome our guests today. So today, for our student-centered learning, Taking the Plunge, we have Mark Benini and Barbara Hefner, who are here from Meriden, and they will be presenting really how the approach that they've taken in their district to build a learning environment that serves multiple students and multiple purposes. And you know, we know that as Odyssey Way being the sponsor, that we are a component of that solution that they've had, but really it's about the strategy and the processes they've put in place in their district. So Mark and Barbara, we'd like to, thank you for being on today.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, and I think, we really appreciate the time that you put in with the students, but also the time that you put in supporting us here at Odyssey Ware. And with that, I'd like to go ahead and turn it over to you all and let you get started in your presentation, so we have plenty of time for question and answers as well at the end.
Sounds great. Thank you. So, hi, I'm Mark Benigni, Superintendent of Schools in the Meriden Public Schools. Collaboration really is the heart of our work. A little bit about our district. We have 12 schools, 8 elementaries, 2 middle, and 2 high schools. We also have an Adventure Academy, which is an in-district special education program, as well as a College and Career Readiness Center. We're just over 9,000 students, with 67% of our students being minorities and over 70% free and reduced lunch price students. Just thought I'd share a little bit about why I'm so proud of our schools, our teachers, our students, our families, our community. In part, it's because in the Meriden Public Schools, we do not screen applicants or require long applications or family interviews or require volunteerism from parents. What we do is enroll all students at all times and try to provide them with the best education possible by making accommodations for students with special needs or limited English skills. We also provide subsidized lunch and breakfast, and we continue to expand our breakfast programs with some grab-and-go breakfast. We know that when students are hungry, they're not able to learn, and we want to make sure that we support our students, especially those students who aren't as privileged as others. But in general, our theme is we're going to dream, we're going to believe, we're going to innovate, we're going to work together to assure student success. So what I thought we'd start with today is a little bit about what we did. So what did we do? First thing we did is we utilized some of Dr. Dweck's work. We abandoned the fixed mindset, adopted the growth mindset, really making sure that we value effort, not just performance. We also raised the bar for all students. We had 5 academic levels. We've collapsed those to 2 levels, both college preparatory pathways. We also adopted a no-zero policy. We're going to continue to encourage work completion. We took a look at our grading procedures. And what we basically saw is that we don't want to give students credit or a score for work they didn't complete. But if the work is what matters, we're always going to make sure that students have an opportunity to complete that work, and we're going to do everything we can to encourage that work completion. And I tell a funny story to my staff. I say, you know, when my dad used to ask me to mow the lawn, and I would do anything other than that, play a neighborhood football game, he didn't come home and say, well, I won't share what he said, but he didn't come home and say, don't worry about the lawn. He said, now tomorrow you're going to mow our lawn, and you're going to mow your grandfather's lawn. And that's the same philosophy we want to use with the students. It's the work that matters. You're not going to escape the work. We need to find creative ways to get students to complete it. We also opened up access to all classes. We eliminated prerequisites. We're now giving students full choice. We used to have some of the same performance requirements that some districts still do. If you didn't receive an 80% in a level 1 class, you weren't able to take a level 2. Yet we knew that one teacher A's average score could be 85% and teacher B's average score could be 75%. All of those prerequisites are eliminated. No more grade requirements. Really, students are having choice and access to all classes. We also increased our academic rigor. We now offer 18 advanced placement courses and early college experience courses. We've seen significant improvements. There's still a lot of work for us to do in district. We want to see these numbers continue to increase. What we did, it actually was a Leadership Academy project from one of our teachers, and it was that we were going to utilize our PSAT indicators. We knew which students had the likelihood of being successful in advanced placement coursework. So we invited all of those parents and students to a reception. We had a pasta dinner. We gave them a small token of appreciation. And basically what we did is we pitched the importance of taking rigorous coursework. And we had our guidance staff on site as well as our AP and ECE teachers, and we signed up students on the spot that night, and that definitely helped us increase our numbers. We also adopted BYOD guidelines K-12. We launched school climate surveys. Our climate surveys feature 3 trigger questions that if a student's in crisis or need, it automatically sends an email to us to about 5 different places to make sure that we're aware that that student is in potential crisis so we can intervene right away. We created an online support portal, so now students at any time on any of our school devices can check in this online support portal and really just ask for help. It lets them know that there's always someone here to listen and to support them. Our Board of Ed reviewed, revised, and developed district policy and goals to put students at the center. We made sure that our board goals were in sync and aligned with the direction that we wanted the work and the learning to go for our students. So now I'm going to turn it over to Barbara, who will share a little bit about where we are now.
Thank you. So where are we now? First of all of our work in Meriden, we put our students at the center. We provide a forum for student voice. We create environments for blended learning. We look to foster student engagement, and we encourage students to develop personalized learning experiences for credit. Our student and staff work has been highlighted by local media. So let's take a look so you can see what's happening in our school.
Lori, Brent, imagine a school system actually encouraging its students to use their personal devices in school. The Silver City is hoping it had struck gold with this approach. They're all thumbs in Meriden schools, but that's actually a good thing.
It allows all kids and all kinds of learners to be able to communicate with each other and with the teacher, especially if kids are typically shy or nervous about raising their hands and talking aloud in class.
Mr. Corsetti estimated at least half of his classwork incorporates use of students' personal electronic devices. And if a student does not have one, the schools have them covered.
Of course, because your own device, you always want to be like with your cell phones and stuff like that. So why not do your work and keep notes on it?
So guys, if you can please go to the Credit website and log in, you'll see the phone number is on the board above, and then you can start your quiz.
Jacqueline Townsend of Platt High School Junior says she took advanced placement U.S. history in large part because of the prospect of using an iPad.
It really is helpful because there's some days where we would be able just to look at videos and stuff right there, PowerPoints on the iPad, because sometimes kids can't see the board.
Helps because it tells a story in 3 scenes in one person.
And for teachers, this it's also inspiring.
They know a lot more about technology sometimes than I do, so if I need a problem to troubleshoot, I go to one of them.
After so many years of telling students to put their devices away, now that they can use them, there was a little trepidation in classes, but as soon as they saw that it was something that they could embrace and teachers were embracing it, they were excited.
Well, Dennis, students here in Meriden had yet another snow day yesterday, their third Monday in a row. Luckily, all 1,100 students here are either issued a tablet or an iPad so they can get their work done from home when snowstorms shut school down.
I love them, to be honest.
Snow days have canceled classes 5 times this year for students.
So you want to make sure that you are viewing the PowerPoint.
And teachers here at Platt High School in Meriden.
It's missed class time. It's missed direct instruction time. Fortunately, with our use of technology, we're able to feel a little better about that, a little less stress.
I like it, but at the same time don't like it because we will have to make up the school days, but I like it because we don't miss any work.
But thanks to technology, they're able to keep up at home. And not just for snow days, though it definitely helps Mother Nature shut school down. Students simply log in online from home.
Go into economics, click on Chapter 2 bookwork, and Mr. Corsetti made a video. We listen to it, and then we go back and click on the article.
Economics teacher Dan Corsetti knew Friday there was a chance for no school come Monday.
I said, you know, make sure we check Moodle in case we're not here Monday. And so when I got in today, I was able to see the bookwork that, you know, some of them had started and, you know, that they had questions and things like that.
If you're from the Northeast, you know the winter we had, and the use of technology in the educational process has really made an impact on our students and their learning. We continue to encourage students to take an active role in their learning, and we want to hear from our students. We want to hear their voice, and we want them to have ownership of their learning. We want students to have learning experiences that tap into interests that they have. And here you can see our students presenting at a Board of Education meeting to our board members about activities that they've participated in school as well as learning experiences. We are a district that 5 years ago had 0 devices in the hands of students. We had a few students who had special ed requirements, but besides that, there weren't any devices. 5 years later, we have over 5,000 devices. We're one-to-one at our high schools, and we have a mixture of Chromebooks and tablets in our elementary and middle schools. And we're happy to say next year we will have an elementary school that will be going one-to-one. But we realize as the technology continually changes, it's not the type of device that matters. What really matters is giving students online access to content and the type of engaging activities that teachers have designed for students to demonstrate greater achievement and mastery of their learning. District-wide, we've incorporated a variety of online learning tools, and these tools provide students with greater opportunities for personalized learning, differentiation, and increased student engagement. So let's hear firsthand from one of our students who's involved in a blended learning environment.
The teachers create PowerPoints and, presentations, and we can both view those inside the classroom. And, if they're on Edmodo or Moodle, we're able to view that outside the classroom. Sometimes some teachers create like short little videos, or they find YouTube videos, and we're able to learn off of those. It's helpful to use those videos inside and outside the classroom because everyone learns at their own pace. So when you're learning at your own pace, you're able to go through, kind of replay a short part of a video or look at a short part of a document, and you're able to see at your own pace and learn better. It's almost like a first-hand experience, just a teacher one-on-one. I'm in environmental science, and obviously that's about, the environment. And the tablets save paper, and not only do they save paper, but the tablets that we get come through recyclable cardboard, like they're recycled and then shipped to us. So what gets better than that? Well, through the blended learning experience that we're able to have with our electronics and tablets and whatnot, the things that we're able to do on the side, like going over presentations, watching videos, learning at your own pace, it actually gives more time for the students and teacher interaction as well, because the teacher doesn't have to stand in front of the classroom and teach every student at the same pace. So you are able to know what questions you're going to ask, and therefore that gives you a better understanding, because you know directly what you're going to ask the teacher, and that will help you, or at least it helps me in the long run.
Our student engagement has been enhanced through the use of technology, both inside and outside of the classroom. Not only do students have access to content, they have online support from their peers, their teachers, and the greater learning community. At our high schools, our students work with a personalized learning coordinator to design their own anytime, anywhere for credit learning experience. We have over 200 students participating in PLE, and the interest continues to grow. Since both of our high schools are under construction, the Maloney Bills and Platt Bills PLEs have engaged many students. Students have directed plays, designed fine arts learning experiences, and participated in Quinnipiac River studies. Odyssey Weir has also played a large component in these personalized learning experiences, where students are able to select courses that we are unable to offer in our curriculum. So now let's hear from one of our students who designed 2 personalized learning experiences.
Well, I take 2 PLEs at this school. I take a piano PLE, Piano 4 with Mr. Faticoni, and I take a theater PLE with Mr. Warner. And it's actually very interesting how I got into both PLEs. Well, for my theater one, I'm an actor. I love to act. I've been acting since I was younger, and I know that's what I want to pursue in college. So, but I didn't know if that's only what I wanted to do. I like the background stuff. I like the lighting and technical and directing things, and I was stuck. But Mr. Warner brought in a artistic director from Middletown, and she talked to us about all these different things that she gets to do. She's basically the director of the directors, and she also incorporates acting into her life and the lighting and the technical, and I thought that was really cool how she can touch bases upon everything. I sat down with Mr. Warner, which is my director, and I asked if me and my friend, Tara Flynn, could co-direct a play here. And at first it was like, whoa, this is a big task you're taking on. You have to pick a play, you have to dissect the play, you have to do all this work for it. Are you sure that's what you want to do? And we for like a month or 2, this was like last March, we were talking about it, and we still really wanted to do it. So at the end of the year, he gave us summer work, which was basically dissecting the play. We sat down and we actually came up with a course based around my abilities of piano and what I'm involved in. I'm involved with the choir and the pentangle for the school. And he said, I would really like you to learn the pieces that we actually sing in choir, the accompaniment line, and accompany a song with us at the concert. I was like, whoa, that's really awesome. So yeah, right now I'm for him, and actually our goals are to learn the pieces, learn more about music, because every single time I get a piece of music, I'm like, I don't know what this sign is, and he teaches me. So it's a really cool 2 PLEs I have. They're really, they fit to what I have, they fit to my schedule, and they let me do what I want to do in college that isn't offered at Platt, but we made it our own thing. So it's really awesome. So it is difficult. It's not easy. It's not completely easy, but it's fun, so that's what makes it not work, in a way. Okay. Hi, my name is Jasmine McLeish. My co-directed play will be November 6th, 7th, and 8th. It's called Lockdown. It will be at Platt at roughly 7 o'clock. Tickets will be sold for students at $5 and adults at $10. It will be very interesting, so I hope you guys can all make it and support my PLE.
So you can tell by Jasmine's energy that she's an actress in the making, and actually she's heading on to college next year in the theater program. So what did we learn? One of the things that we learned is that leadership matters. We're very fortunate to have a terrific leadership team headed by Dr. Benigni. Dr. Benigni was selected as one of the 2015 Leaders to Learn From by Ed Week. This award honors 16 district leaders who are putting smart ideas to work across the United States. The union management partnership is strong in Meriden. Monthly union leaders meet with our central office team. There is open lines of communication and a culture of collaboration throughout the district. We knew that we couldn't justify putting devices in students' hands without providing support for our teachers. Our staff needed to be comfortable teaching with technology in meaningful ways. We support our teachers through a variety of professional development opportunities. We've had over 100 teachers who have participated in professional development from John Bergman on the flipped classroom strategy. We offer summer PD sessions, after-school professional development sessions, embedded coaching with our tech integration specialists, and we even offer online PD, which allows teachers to experience anytime, anywhere learning. We also know that our teachers need time to collaborate. They need to work with between departments, between schools, and even between grade levels. And we work hard to provide this time during their school day when school schedules permit. We need to know our students so that we're better able to engage with our students and teach to their interests. And this is where we launched our Getting to Know You survey. Students complete the survey at the beginning of each school year. Teachers get the student feedback and are able to direct instruction to students' interests. We know that student-centered learning works. When we personalize, differentiate, and engage students in the learning process, deeper learning occurs. We continually look at our resources to see where we can reallocate. So instead of making traditional book or pencil and paper purchases, we've reallocated to digital content and devices. We've also looked at our use of outside consultants to see how we can best train our staff to support staff members. We've learned that access to digital content provides opportunities for students to learn anytime, anywhere, and learning is truly extended beyond the classroom walls. We continually look at our learning environments, and we have converted our traditional media centers into technology centers so that students have greater access to online resources and a variety of welcoming workspaces. Meriden is proud to be involved in 2 major high school renovations. We're investing a lot of time and money into our buildings, but we've also had very deep discussions about the type of furniture that's inside these buildings so that we can provide a flexible learning environment for both our teachers and our students. We continue to look for grant opportunities that can support the transformation in our district, and we've been fortunate to be awarded the Connecticut State Department of Education School Improvement Grant and a Nellie Mae Education Foundation grant. Both grants have allowed us to add additional support staff that supports teacher professional development and during the school day. One of the unique things that we're able to do due to the Nellie Mae grant is to have content area coaches at our high school. So these are teachers in our high school who teach 2 periods a day and then coach their colleagues 3 periods a day. The training and investment in our staff is supporting the changes in learning that's happening in our environment. And we also learned that digital learning levels the playing field for all of our students and promotes success for all students.
And I'll wrap up with what were our results. Barbara referenced grants received. I just think it's important for folks to know that for 5 consecutive years, we received no budget increase from our local municipality. So going out and applying for grants and receiving these grants have been essential for us as we're moving forward with this transition. So what were our results? On our state test in 2013, the last state test provided by the state of Connecticut, we saw some of the highest scores in district history. In 2014, on our own internal district test, again, some of the highest scores in district history. We've also seen improved school climates. Since 10-11, our suspensions are down 58%, expulsions down 88%, and school-based arrests down 77%. We've seen improved attendance, a 1.7% increase overall in attendance. We have increase in personalized learning experience credits. Maloney High School, 77 credits earned, Platt 72, and this is an area of significant growth for us. We know that we can double and triple these numbers in the short term. We also recovered credits for graduation. You'll see credits have been recovered during the school year as well as during summer school. Again, this is another way Odyssey Ware works closely with the district. We wanted to know, as we're doing all these changes, what were our students' perceptions of a positive school climate? Across all of our schools, we saw a 10% increase. At our high schools, we saw a 16% increase. So then we looked at our staff. How were our teachers feeling about all of these changes? We saw a 10% increase in teachers' perceptions of a positive school climate, and 12% increase in teachers feeling that administration treats all staff with respect. We also have seen improved parent participation in our climate surveys. In 14-15, we have over 2,000 surveys completed. In our first year of launching these surveys, we only had 281 completed. We also know that we're going to launch a new campaign. This will be for next year. It will be our Take Charge of Learning campaign. It will really be how are we going to support this digital transformation to student-centered learning environments. A key component of this transformation will be our I'm Charged classrooms. We're going to tap those teachers who are innovative and doing creative work now, and they're going to launch I'm Charged classrooms where other teachers can visit, both in their school building, but across district, and also we'll welcome visitors and guests to our district. Thought we'd close because what matters most to us is that we have engaged and appreciative student-centered learners. So let's hear from our students.
We want you to know that learning doesn't just take place in the classroom. As digital learners, it also takes place here. And here. And here. And here. And here. Definitely here. And definitely here. Eat and while you're eating. And on here. And here. And here. As students, we know we have a job to do and appreciate your hard work to improve our education. Thank you for embracing blended learning and keeping students in the center.
That concludes our presentation. We just want to thank Odysseyware and thank all of you for joining us today, and obviously we welcome questions and comments.
Great. Yeah, absolutely. So thank you so much for your time, Mark and Barbara. I think the information that you shared is very relevant to what a lot of districts are working towards today. And there are a few questions that have come in. You know, one of them is, are your PLEs being used outside of the high school setting?
Yes, we have PLEs that happen both inside the high school and then outside the high school. So we have students who were raising trout and then releasing them in the Quinnipiac River. We had a student who was doing an environmental program for the Sheridan, and actually after they rolled out the program went national. We had a student working at the federal courthouse. So whatever opportunity a student is interested in, we're more than willing to have a faculty member work with that student and support them in that endeavor.
That's great. Thank you. One of the other questions that came in was really around how you informed parents of this change in your schools, and how was that received?
I think we've used every way possible to inform our parents. Automated phone calls, newsletters home, local TV access channels, but our best way to notify our parents are directly through our students. And when the student voice is real with their parents, I think that makes all the difference in the world. And what's occurred now, we could never roll back these initiatives because we'd have a revolt from our students. So I think our students have really led this charge and really made sure that their parents were on board, as well as the community.
Great, great. Thank you. One of the other questions that came in was really around the students, and the question is, are students in core classes able to participate in PLE as well?
In physical education, yes, but generally right now they're being used as elective credits, and this is a big discussion that we're having right now with the union and internally as to how can we maximize the learning opportunity for our students. We're also going to launch some summer PLEs, which students can participate in, which will directly relate to core curriculum classes and earn credit in those areas. But really, the sky's the limit here. We started with it being more of an elective base. We're now transitioning and offering some that will count towards core classes over the summer. and really it's working on some requirements, looking at state policy to make sure how we can really roll this out on a more extensive level.
Great. And then another question that came in, Mark, is really around kind of the funding and how you are, accessing the opportunities for grants and kind of how you're organizing that within your district so that you're not missing those opportunities. Can you give any tips to others who are looking for that type of funding?
I think, first of all, first look internally as to what changes you can make internally. So if there's a model that's not working here, we had an old library model that we revamped, and we made sure that we kept literacy facilitators, and we really staff now our technology centers with literacy facilitators and folks with technology experience. So we looked internally first, what wasn't working, where were we spending money, where we were ordering supplies, if the same supplies are being ordered year in and year out at the same quantities, well, probably no one's taking a look at those. So we really looked internally first, recognized some efficiencies and savings that way. And then what we did is we restructured central office by making sure that curriculum and instructional technology were aligned. So now Barbara's responsible and in charge of both. That allowed me to free up some savings and some salary to hire someone whose really sole focus is to support the grants. And then we always have discussions, and these discussions occur with both unions around the table at a monthly central office meeting where we say, here's the grant. Does this grant really match our vision? Is this something we should be involved in? And if the answer is yes, then we get to work, and it's a team approach.
That's great. I wouldn't have thought about looking at your resources and things that are being ordered. That's I'm sure there is a lot of savings there. So thank you very much. And then one of the questions is also around, Barbara, you talked a lot about the staff and the training and the different opportunities that you have there. And, how are you managing kind of monitoring, where staff is trained up, where you need to bring in additional training for your staff? How is that being monitored, or is that something the teachers are informing you of?
When we started, we had a very systematic approach, so, we're continuing with that approach. Our first rollout of our blended learning environment was in the 10th grade because all 10th grade students have to take U.S. History and English 10. So that was the first group of teachers that we focused on. From there, we rolled it out to the English and Social Studies department, so as these students, increased in grade level, they were having similar experiences. This year, we began our rollout to the science and math teachers. We have professional development over the summer for teachers when we're doing something intense. And in credit to our teachers, they willingly come and participate in, in the summer professional development. We just have a great group of teachers to work with across the district. And a good example is we did the flipped classroom PD. We had 100 teachers trained. We've asked every teacher to create a video and share it with us, a video that they're using for the student. All of our teachers have completed that task. We do have tech integration specialists who work in the schools, so they will work alongside the teacher, planning the lesson, developing a skill, helping them implement. So it's really a systemic change with a multi-prong approach.
And definitely, we would be remiss if we didn't share, receiving the Nellie Mae Education Foundation grant has been enormously helpful because it's provided the funding to pay for some of this top-notch professional development, to pay our teachers to come in over the summer. While we don't pay a lot for them to come in over the summer, I think they are willing participants, but that grant really has helped us lead this charge and also has helped build community support and awareness as well as board support and awareness.
Wow, that's great. Mark, this is a personal question for myself. When you talked about kind of the Nellie grant and those types of pieces, I know that you've been recognized in different areas. And as you're submitting for these grants or as you are, looking for these opportunities, is there something within your strategic plan that has really helped you to acquire these? I mean, is there wording or specific areas that you've really focused on that you feel like has really allowed you to continue to get this funding within your program?
I think definitely our union management collaboration, and we've received recognition. The Connecticut AFT honored the union president and myself with the President's Award. So I think folks come to this district knowing that there are no barriers, that they're going to meet as easy with me as they will with one of our teachers, that there's not going to be a battle between union and management, that we're in the work together. So I think that lays a good foundation whenever we apply for a grant. But I also think it's the excitement and energy that people bring to the task, and that's, I say this over and over again, I'm just fortunate that I work with so many talented people who love what they do. But I think it's setting the tone that we're in this work together, that we're going to work together. So there's going to be no hurdles with, you know, is the whole team into it? We're not going to apply for anything that we're not all invested in, and that's teachers union, administrators union, as well as the central office team.
Great. Yeah, thank you very much for that. You know, I know that it's very difficult to find some of those funds, and sometimes the way that you approach that is really impactful in acquiring those. So I appreciate that. Well, right now, that's the only questions. We have a few more minutes, so if you guys have additional questions, please feel free to send them in. I'm going to talk a little bit about what you're seeing up here on the screen around the questions. We do have, you know, our Leading with Change webinar series is continuing, you know, throughout the whole year, and so each month you will see different components that we'll be presenting. And next month we have Central York. Michael Snell will be presenting around what they're doing in their blended learning environment and how they're making that change within the district. So we hope that you'll join us. And we just had the opportunity also to have Oxford school principal share his model and some of the great things that they're doing there, so that we hope those that are on the phone can take advantage, and really that today you got some tips and you really got some information that would support you in what you're driving towards around these initiatives within schools, and definitely how, you know, OdysseyWare plays a component, a piece in that with supporting those students and those teachers. But we know that it is a systemic change that has to happen. And, you know, Mark and Barbara, we just really appreciate you sharing, you know, your struggles as well as your great successes in that area.
Thank you so much, and thanks for having us on, and thanks to everyone who tuned in today.
Great. And right before we leave, we did have one last question coming in. I'm just going to read it directly off here. It says, in a district of 9K students, how many staffers are directly involved in supporting your technology infrastructure? And then in parentheses, it's network, servers, PCs, devices, etc. And then the second part of that is how many FTEs are directly involved in instructional technology in the classroom other than teachers?
Okay, so Barbara is going to answer that question, and I see her numbers down. As you were asking, she was jotting the numbers down, and this is a great question.
Okay, so we have one network manager. Below the network manager, we have 6 technicians. Then also under me, we have a blended learning supervisor. Under the blended learning supervisor, we have 3 technology integration specialists that support our secondary schools.
And we also, in the school setting, we have some personalized learning experience coaches who, in lieu of a duty, they do some PLE coaching. We've also, through the Nellie Mae grant, lessened their teaching load by a period, so they have 2 periods a day where they can do PLE coaching. And a lot of these positions that Barbara mentions are strictly funded through the Nellie Mae grant to kind of support this work. But the board has been very supportive, but I think, you know, balancing board expenditures with grant expenditures has made it a lot easier for them, and it's made it work in our schools and in the community.
Great. Yeah, I think, you know, that's always the question, is how do you manage, you know, this type of initiative and really building to it and having the appropriate support staff. And Mark says thank you. So appreciate that question, Mark. So at this point, there's not a lot of other questions. I do want to let everybody know, Barbara, if you can move to the next slide. You know, OdysseyWare is here to support you, that, you know, it is about them, you know, really delivering that comprehensive education experience that will empower your teachers and your students. And they have a really great area and lots of curriculum that will support that. So if you haven't checked out the OdysseyWare learning systems, we ask that you'll go and you know, check those out and find out some more information. From today's webinar, we will definitely be sending out a thank you with a link to the recording today, and we will also be taking additional questions. So if you have questions and you watch or you think about something tomorrow, please feel free to send it to us. And I will get that to Barbara and Mark and get those answers back for you as best I can. So we, again, appreciate our presenters just sharing your expertise, being on. And we also want to thank all of you that took time out of your day today to be on our Leading with Change session, and we hope that you'll return to the next one. So again, thank you so much, Barbara and Mark, and best of luck, to you, and we're so glad you are an Odyssey Wear partner.
Thanks so much. Best to all.
You bet. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful day.